Number one, you need a right incentive structure. Number two, you need an idea meritocracy where ideas matter more than the seniority of the person saying them. So an example of that is if the CEO has a stupid idea, but a junior employee has a good idea, the good idea should win, even if it's from a junior employee who doesn't speak great English, is in a satellite office. And that's something a lot of organizations struggle with because the executives have to have a tremendous amount of humility that though they're the executives of the organization, they're not always right. And sometimes it's embarrassing, right? My idea, we use our own software, and my ideas sometimes get downvoted. And it's really funny to see the CEO's ideas at the bottom because we wanted the best ideas to win, not Nick's ideas.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Grow and Learn Podcast, your go-to source for expertise and insights on a variety of topics: business growth, leadership, technology, personal and business finance, and more. We've curated a vast network of business experts ready to address your company's most pressing challenges. From corporate growth strategy to leadership, marketing strategy, sales strategy, branding, customer relations, technology, AI, IT security, and beyond, we connect you to the best experts for your needs. Reach out to us for more information or schedule a call at grownlearn.org to explore how we can support you. Today, I am speaking to the CEO of IdeaScale, the leading software innovation company. He has a long track record of success as a chief CXO, basically, in various companies. And now he's working with the best in industry. He's working with Comcast, NASA. But let's not spill the beans too much. I'm introducing Nick Jain today. Hi, Nick. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Serena. And thank you for the wonderful and kind introduction.
It was rather brief, you know. If I were to read your entire biography, it's quite impressive. And why should we not start with it, though? Because people always want to know about the personal stories of my guests. So who are you, Nick? Who are you? I know you. You've come a long way. So what is your story?
Sure. So the quick part of my story is I'm a classical immigrant. I grew up in India in the late 1980s with a single grandmother at that time. So in a childhood, I very much remember only having access to a couple hours of electricity a day. Water only worked an hour a day. My parents emigrated to Canada at some point, spent a lot of my childhood in Canada, a little small farm town where all we did was ride bikes and stuff. And then came to the United States for college. I studied math and physics. Then career-wise, I spent the first half of my career in Wall Street as a professional investor in private equity and hedge funds. And for the last 5 or so years, I've been a professional CXO, initially co-running two companies. One was a $100 million revenue trucking company, and then a small $2 million men's shoe company. Now I have the great pleasure of being CEO of IdeaScale, which, as you mentioned, is the largest innovation software company on the planet. We're in 7 countries now, been in business 15 years. As for me personally, I live in Philadelphia with my wife, 2 cats, and I've got a kid on the way in a couple of weeks. So very excited about that.
Yeah, that's indeed exciting news. So tell us a bit about IdeaScale. How I've actually never heard about it. What is it? What is an innovation software? What do you do as a company?
Sure. So if you think about any large company, they get very good at doing whatever they were built to do. That could be the US Post Office delivering mail, that could be Pfizer making drugs. But when it's time to change or become better or innovate or do something different, they really struggle because they're so stuck at doing whatever they were doing really well. So our software really helps these large organizations, could be both public sector and private sector, figure out how to innovate better. And it does that through 3 things. Firstly, we help you tap your broader ecosystem's minds for ideas. So this could be your entire employee base of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. It could be your customers, it could be your shareholders, just everybody who cares about your organization. We help you collect all of their cool ideas. That's number 1. Number 2 is we help you figure out which ideas are good or bad through a downvoting and upvoting system, very similar to how a TikTok video or an Instagram post gets upvoted and downvoted. So it's like a social media platform for ideas. And number 3, we help you turn those ideas into reality. So they're just not an idea on paper, but they actually become implemented in the real world.
Mm-hmm. And the upvoting, downvoting is done based on certain criteria, or is it the opinions of the stakeholders?
Both. You can configure the software in either way. You can make it entirely social, where it's totally based on opinion, or secondly, you can quantify it based on we care about these financial metrics or these human impact metrics. We actually recommend most organizations use a combination of both because turns out there's a lot of cool knowledge embedded in the opinions of people. Opinions are often based on some amount of information and facts.
Yeah. And some of your clients are NASA, Comcast, NASCAR, Doctors Without Borders. Why do these large organizations refer to an external company to do their innovation for them?
Sure. So I want to be clear, we're not doing the innovation for NASCAR or Doctors Without Borders. We're helping them innovate better. So they're not outsourcing their innovation. They're using a tool. So you can think of it like a carpenter. If he or she uses a hammer, they're not outsourcing the carpentry. They're adding a tool that makes them better at their job.
Yeah.
So our software, just like, other pieces of software, accounting software, CRM software for marketing, helps companies do what they're trying to do just better, more efficiently, faster, and more systematically.
I see. So what stops larger companies from doing such activities on their own?
Sure. The analogy I'd like to draw is, why do personal people sign up for gyms or personal trainers, right? It's very easy for you to put on a pair of shoes and running shorts and go for a run by yourself or go lift. But a lot of people find that they don't have the discipline or experience to do so consistently and systematically. That's why you hire like a gym trainer at the gym, or you go join a spinning class. Similarly, that's why large organizations hire other companies to support them in their technology needs. So if you are, let's say, Microsoft, you're not building your own accounting system, even though you're a tech company. You're going to hire an Oracle or SAP to build your accounting, or NetSuite to build your accounting system. Similarly, rather than NASCAR or Doctors Without Borders or Pfizer building their own innovation technology system, they come to professional technology providers like us.
And why do large companies, struggle to innovate outside of such tools that are available out there? I mean, they're available, they use them. Sure. Do they still continue with the struggle to innovate?
So look, I think our software helps solve part of the problem of innovation. It's not a magic cure-all. It doesn't matter if you don't, as much as I would love it, if you sign up for IdeaScale, we don't solve all your problems tomorrow. So for an organization to become innovative, they need three things simultaneously. Number one, they need a commitment to being better tomorrow than they are today. And a lot of organizations really struggle with that. They're good at what they do and they don't think about tomorrow. So there is a cultural change or values change that needs to happen. Number two, you need to create the right incentives for people to innovate. A lot of organizations actually discourage or demotivate people from, sharing their cool ideas because they're worried their boss is going to steal it. They're worried ideas are going to be laughed at. There's all these perverse incentives within large organizations to not innovate. And then thirdly, you want tools and technology and process. Again, going back to the gym analogy, even if you have the dedication, even if you're like, I'm going to lose 10 pounds or I'm going to get, become more muscular, whatever it is, you still may bring on tools like a home gym system or a new pair of running shoes to help you do that more systematically. So we really focus on that third part where once an organization is committed to becoming more innovative and has started improving their culture, we provide them the technology so they can make that a continuous process rather than a one-off instance of innovation.
I see. I know you're very good at marketing and sales. It's one of your specialties. And now my question is, why, as a CEO of IdeaScale, are you podcasting? What kind of audience are you actually reaching with podcasting, or what is your reason to do podcasting?
Sure. So as you said, we've been very successful at marketing. And for example, my organic web traffic right now is 10 times my next 9 competitors combined. So we are absolutely dominating the world of marketing. We have webinars, we have our own podcasting series, all that fun stuff. So we're doing really well. My reason for showing up for interviews like this is there's two things I'm trying to do. Number one is I think we are actually really good at thought leadership on innovation. I'm trying to share to the world how they actually innovate better and share our thought leadership because we are experts on this topic, not just me, but people throughout our organization. Number two is very practically for your benefit, the benefit of your listeners. We're sharing that our software is entirely free for people that are less than 100 employees. So wow. That's really cool, whether you're an individual entrepreneur or a small business or even a mid-sized business with like 99 people. Our software is completely free. And I want to offer that up to your listeners as here's a really cool piece of industrial quality software that's used by multi-billion-dollar organizations, people with hundreds of thousands of employees. and I'm offering it up for free to anyone because I really believe in supporting the innovation ecosystem, both for small as well as large organizations.
How does it work for individual entrepreneurs or for smaller companies? When do they send it to outsiders then that upvote or downvote the ideas? How does it work?
Well, you could use it, yeah. Yeah. So to sign up, you literally go to ideascale.com, click get started free, takes less than 2 minutes to get up and running. You can use it in one of two ways, depending on what your specific needs are. The first way is you could just use it as a central repository for your own ideas. You don't have to collaborate with anyone. You could just put your cool ideas in there. You could categorize them, and that way you don't have to remember them or leave them on an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc somewhere. It's a much better system for capturing all of your ideas and organizing them in a thoughtful way. The same way you would use a calendar or for managing your meetings or an Excel file to manage your finances. The second benefit is what the collaborative benefit. So this is where we really push the power, where you invite others. You invite your friends to comment on your ideas. You invite, if you're a mid-sized organization of 20, 30, 50 people, your colleagues can comment, your customers can comment. So think about Yelp, right? You may put your business on Yelp, but then you ask thousands of people, all your customers, to come review your business. Your customers care about your ideas and how you get better as a business tomorrow too. So you can actually leverage a collaborative power of IdeaScale by inviting your broader ecosystem of people, however you define it.
Sounds really interesting. And you mentioned or your organic reach. What is the name of your podcast, and what is the type of content that you share there? Do you speak there? Do you interview thought leaders?
Sure. So we have recorded a bunch of episodes. We haven't launched our own podcast yet. It's interviews specifically with chief innovation officers of organizations, both large and in some cases multi-billion-dollar organizations. And that podcast, it's not an IdeaScale branded podcast. I'm not trying to sell my software or anything like that. It is truly just listening to what chief innovation officers with the problems they struggle with in their specific organization, and them trying to help other chief innovation officers in their organization.
So it's like doing a live case study while podcasting. You're actually helping them during the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very much, I'm not even interviewing them. It's them. I show up, give them an introduction, and then they talk about what they struggle with in innovation generally and what they struggle with specifically in their organization.
Very cool. Very interesting. And based on your experience until now, before having interviewed these people, based on the companies that you've worked with, what is what they're struggling with the most? CEOs of large organizations when it comes to innovation?
Yeah, I think two things. Number one is, I think a lot of organizations still struggle with knowing that they actually need to innovate to stay ahead, to stay even on par with people. The quote I love to put out is, if you're not innovating, remember your competitors still are, right? If you're not moving forward, they're getting ahead of you every day, because they're not just because you got lazy and stopped getting better doesn't mean they did. If you're not showing up to the gym, remember your buddy is, your friends still are. They're getting better fit and better looking. That happens at a corporate and organization level too. That's number one. Like this, I feel organizations don't have this compunction to innovate as much as they should. Number two is providing the resources, right? You can take the most motivated, intelligent person in the world, but if you put them in a room by themselves, they don't have internet access, they don't have pencils, they don't have, gym sneakers, whatever it is, they can't do anything. So I think actually allotting resources for R&D, for innovation, is something that a lot of organizations struggle with, because they're trying to innovate without giving the resources needed to actually innovate and get better for tomorrow.
In light of the current economic situation in the US specifically, but also in the world, there are different expectations, but what is your expectations, and how do you see the development of innovation budgets in companies in the coming years, let's say by this quarter, by the end of this year?
Sure. So I'll go back to what I said. If you're not innovating, your competitors are, right? If let's imagine we think that the economic climate is difficult today and that there's budget cuts, which I actually haven't seen, but let's imagine that's the case. If you're cutting your R&D and your innovation budgets for tomorrow, that seems like a great idea today, but a year from now, 5 years from now, it's absolutely decimating. A great example of this that we're seeing happen right now is Intel. for the last 40 or 50 years, Intel has been the semiconductor company. It's been in every computer. And unfortunately, they underinvested in research and technology. They've fallen behind NVIDIA, TSMC, and a few other semiconductor companies. And now the consequence of their actions is they're laying off thousands of people. They've lost billions of dollars of money. And the company itself may be at risk, even though this is the company that built the entire semiconductor industry.
Right.
So budget, I don't think, is as necessary a constraint as people think, because innovation is necessary if you want to be relevant tomorrow. The second thing is you actually don't need a lot of money, resources, or people to be innovative, right? You just need some. And I think that's the thing that a lot of organizations struggle with. They're often not allocating dedicated amount. And obviously, it's very easy if you're in a pharmaceutical company and you have huge R&D departments. But if you're a manufacturing company or a government organization, what does R&D mean for you? What does innovation mean for you? And a lot of that, there it's a little bit more ambiguous. So organizations allocate fewer, if not zero, resources, which is challenging at times.
You mentioned that one of the biggest impediments to innovation in companies is their culture. And in what kind of culture, in your experience until now, is necessary for a company to thrive in innovation?
Sure. I think there's three cultural elements that are needed. Number one, you need the right incentive structure. You need to reward people for innovating and not harm them for failing, right? A lot of organizations, when you try something new and you fail, that you look stupid or they fire you rather than rewarding you for trying something new. So number one, you need a right incentive structure. Number two, you need an idea meritocracy, where ideas matter more than the seniority of the person saying them. So an example of that is if the CEO has a stupid idea, but a junior employee has a good idea, the good idea should win, even if it's from a junior employee who doesn't speak great English, is in a satellite office. And that's something a lot of organizations struggle with, because the executives have to have a tremendous amount of humility that though they're the executives of the organization, they're not always right. And sometimes it's embarrassing, right? My idea, we use our own software, and my ideas sometimes get downvoted. And it's really funny to see the CEO's ideas at the bottom because we wanted the best ideas to win, not Nick's ideas. Mm-hmm. Third is a more ephemeral concept, but it's the idea that innovation becomes a core value for an organization, right? That this goes back to the point I was saying, that you have to truly believe that getting better tomorrow is relevant for you and your organization and is important. And for a lot of organizations, that's not what they're thinking about. They're thinking about manufacturing whatever they are today, delivering the services they are today. For other organizations, it's a lot easier, right? If you're a pharmaceutical company or a technology company, if you're not investing in R&D and innovation, your patents run out or your technology runs out. It's a little bit more difficult again for, let's say, a government organization or a manufacturing organization or a nonprofit, where they're so focused on the actions of today that they're not able to think ahead for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. When you talk innovation, do you talk product innovation, process innovation, business model innovation, or is it all of them together when it comes to the applications of your software?
Sure. So the answer is yes, it's everything, right? So I'll give two silly examples. We used our software to select our own company mascot. That's a fun marketing exercise that our employees and our customers could talk about. That's really fun. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's like a cute dog mascot. That on the more serious side, or one of the largest restaurant chains in the world used our software to figure out what their new menu items would be that would go into their tens of thousands of restaurants around the world.
Wow. Yeah, interesting.
So that's a much more serious product innovation. And you've seen everything in between. Comcast, I think, uses part of our software to help improve their internal technology. So it's not something you and I interact with as end customers, but it's certainly important for them internally to improve their technical infrastructure. So everything from fun stuff to very serious stuff.
Very interesting. And have you integrated AI analytics in your process, in your product?
It's funny that you asked that. That's my big personal project that I'm working on, and we'll be releasing it in about 10 or so weeks. It's literally called the AI Analytics Project. We have all this cool information about ideas. How do you condense it into something that a normal human being can understand very quickly? And so that's a module we're releasing in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Great. What else do you want to speak about? I'm questioning you here as if you were on NBC or ABC or whatever channels you have in the US. Tell me something you want to talk about.
Sure. I'll say something totally random and fun, unrelated to innovation. So I'm a big poker player. I played semi-competitively for a while, won a bunch of small tournaments, and for as long as you're not prone to gambling addiction, it's such a fun game because you get to be competitive. You get, if you're not competitive, you get to be social and hang around with other people. You get to often have free drinks. You get to exercise your brain because if you start getting good at poker, you're actually using a lot of math and a lot of critical thinking skills that you can apply to the world of business. So it's actually funny. The exact same math I use as a CEO of a company or that I use on Wall Street is what I would use at a poker table. It's one of my hobbies. When my wife says I'm allowed to go play, I'm very excited about doing that. And I encourage people to go learn the game as long as, of course, they have the discipline not to become gambling addicts. Because that's obviously a pitfall with any game.
Do you play with friends or do you play at casinos or elsewhere?
So before COVID, I used to hold a small monthly game for like 25, 50 cents, very small money, just beer, pizza, and a few friends coming over once a month. Post COVID, it's really been in casinos where I've started to become quite a bit more competitive.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I used to play poker when I was a teenager with the kids from the block.
So you appreciate it.
Sorry?
So you appreciate all these expected value positive decisions
I do,
and your
yes.
ability and stuff.
I do. Poker is also constant learning. And you mentioned you're a fan of continuous learning, like lifelong learning. What do you
So that's
yeah.
Yeah. So look, I'm the CEO of I'm the CEO of a reasonably successful company, and people would assume, okay, you got the job and you stopped learning and you're just happy at that point. But that's not true. I spend somewhere between 10 to 30 hours a month doing formal education in other areas so examples conclude in the past month, I've taken three prompt engineering courses for ChatGPT and Gemini and all these LLMs. And those are non-technical courses that like a 5-year-old child could, right? Or a 80-year-old adult. Number 2, I'm taking a technical course on databases. Number 3, I'm reading some classical novels such as Paradise Lost by John Milton. And the reason I'm doing these things is kind of twofold. Number 1, it keeps your brain sharp if you're learning. But number 2, and more practically, in today's world, if you're not investing in your own education for the future, you become quite irrelevant, right? So if you don't know how to be an expert at ChatGPT, that may be okay today, but in 5 years, it's going to be an absolute job requirement, not just for junior entry-level employees, but if you're a CEO or a CFO or a senior person, and I'm interviewing a senior person, they don't know how to use these LLMs at an expert level, then I'm probably not excited about them having an opportunity at IdeaScale because they underinvested in their own careers. And again, the important part is you need to do that even if you're a very, very senior employee because skills are evolving so quickly. The cool thing is that you can learn all this stuff for free nowadays. You don't have to go pay for a university to go do so.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. I also do that. I also learn different things, including the prompts and everything you say. And I also believe that the more you feed your mind with various fields of information, the more open you become to mix practices and structures between the fields and come up with more innovative ideas. So you apply models from one area to another. This is how innovation is done, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Actually, it's supported by science because I recently spoke to the CEO of Best Robotics in the US, the competition for children doing innovation. And he explained the model of learning and of unlocking meta skills. And this is one of the ways to do it. Yeah, so fantastic.
What's a meta skill? What's a meta skill?
Meta skill is something that uses your cognitive abilities beyond logical thinking, beyond learning. So you make use of your subconscious mind as well, of your they call them meta skills, but it's like a more acceptable word for supernatural skills that we naturally have. So to put it this way, yeah. So you for example, a meta skill can be an insight, an intuition that you gain during sleep time. And this is used as a part of innovation process in these competitions. Yeah, but it's one example.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, that's a good example. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic, Nick. So again, the website where people can make use of the free software is ideascale.com.
Yes. If you're less than 100 people, go to IdeaScale.com. Software is entirely free, whether you're one person or 99 people.
Do you post interesting things on LinkedIn? Can people follow you? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I think there's two other ways to get a hold of us. If you're really interested in innovation, our blog is probably the best place on the planet. It ranks ahead of Wikipedia and McKinsey. So IdeaScale's blog is probably the best place on the planet for anything innovation related if you're an innovation professional or want to learn how to innovate better. And that's totally separate from our software. That's just a good research. Secondly, if they want to follow me personally or get in touch with me, there's two good ways to do that. Either on LinkedIn, Nick Jain. If you ever search for me, I'm usually number one on LinkedIn search. Number two, you can email me directly at nick.jain@ideascale.com, and I try and respond to 100% of messages and emails.
Fantastic. It was a pleasure having you on. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you so much, Lorena, for having me.
Welcome to the Grow and Learn Podcast, your go-to source for expertise and insights on a variety of topics: business growth, leadership, technology, personal and business finance, and more. We've curated a vast network of business experts ready to address your company's most pressing challenges. From corporate growth strategy to leadership, marketing strategy, sales strategy, branding, customer relations, technology, AI, IT security, and beyond, we connect you to the best experts for your needs. Reach out to us for more information or schedule a call at grownlearn.org to explore how we can support you.